Dear students, welcome to my class. In this class, we are going to study the band theory of solids. Actually, in the last class, I had started the concept electrical properties of solids. There, I had told you that all the solids based on their electric conductivity, they are divided into conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. Now, the conductivity in solids is explained by band theory. So first of all, we all know that metals are very good conductors and their conductivity is due to the valence electrons. But here in band theory, it considers the energy bands. What is an energy band? We all know that atomic orbitals combine to give rise to molecular orbitals. Again, these molecular orbitals have been divided into bonding molecular orbitals and anti-bonding molecular orbitals. So each molecular orbital is one energy level, but there is a small energy gap lies between one level to another energy level. If you take molecular orbitals, there is a very slight or marginal gap exists between one energy level to another energy level. For example, this is one line representing one energy level. The next energy level will have slightly greater energy than this, and the next one, and so on. So here each line represents one energy level. So what we can say, when all these molecular orbitals combine, if you take metals that consist of molecular orbitals, each molecular orbital is given by one energy level. So when we draw these energy levels, these are considered to be lines here, and there is a very marginal gap between one line to another line. That is one energy level to another energy level. There is a very slight gap, almost no gap. So when these lines are combining here, this is called as a band. Now, if you take substances, there will be two types of such bands exist. Those are one is a valency band. So the first one, the first energy band is the valency band, and the second one that has higher energy is a conduction band. So valency band and conduction band. These valency band will be usually partially filled or completely filled, and here this conduction band will be vacant. This is the basis for the band theory. So according to band theory, there will be two types of bands in every material. So that is valency band that may consist, that is partially filled or completely filled, and a conduction band is always vacant. According to this theory, when an electron promotes a valency band to conduction band, it causes electric conductivity to the material. The electric conductivity of the material is due to the promotion of electrons from a valency band to the conduction band. Now if you see bands in solids here, so here we are taking energy. So energy is taken on y-axis, and if you observe the bands, first we take the conductors. You all know that conductors have valency band and conduction band, but here this is a valency band. This is one band. Here what I am drawing is one band, and here it is a conduction band. Look here, both the valency band and conduction band are overlapped. This is a valency band and this is a conduction band. This valency band is partially filled here, but conduction band is vacant. But here what happened here? This valency band and the conduction band do not have any gap, so that electron is already in the conduction band. So the promotion of electron is easy here because it is already the valency band is overlapped with the conduction band, so that they are very good conductors at room temperature. I already told you that the condition for a substance to conduct electricity is to promote it electrons from a valency band to conduction band. But already here there is a overlapped valency band and conduction band, and so the metals, I mean here conductors have the ability to conduct electricity at the room temperature. Now let us take the same band in case of a semiconductor. If you take a semiconductor, so again here this is a valency band and this is the conduction band here. So two types of bands exist in all the types of metal. A band is nothing but an energy level. These are conduction band are nothing but formed from the empty energy levels. When you join all the energy levels, it will form a band. Conduction band is due to the empty marked orbitals here. So this valency band will be either partially filled or completely filled here. So here if you take the valency band, if it is completely filled, and here this is called as a forbidden gap or energy gap. The gap between these two bands is called as an energy gap or forbidden gap. But this is very small here. So that when you increase the temperature, here the valency electrons from the valency band to conduction band can be promoted. Actually, this band, this is relating to the semiconductors. So semiconductors have a very small gap between the valency band and conduction band. On increasing the temperature, it is easily possible for an electron from a valency band to promote to conduction band. That is why semiconductors are good conductors when the temperature is increased. Now let us go for the last class. You know that it is so here this is a conduction band completely filled here, and here this is a valency band, and here this is a conduction band. You can see here there is a large energy gap between valency band and conduction band, so that it is impossible to promote the electron from a valency band to conduction band, because the energy gap is so large, and so that we cannot supplement or overcome that energy gap whatever the temperature we raise, because this energy is too large, so that we cannot fill that barrier. So this is all about the band theory of the materials. So according to band theory, each substance consists of molecular orbitals. Each molecular orbital represents one line here, one energy level. When we join these energy levels, these will form bands. So if these energy levels are formed by the partially filled or completely filled bonding molecular orbitals, it will give a valency band, and a conduction band is formed with empty energy levels. Now the electric conductivity of the metals is due to the promotion of an electron from a valency band to conduction band. So this energy gap is very small in case of semiconductors, and there is no energy gap between valency band and conduction band in case of a conductor. And insulators, the energy gap between the valency band and conduction band is large. That is why it is difficult to overcome that energy barrier, and they remain as bad conductors of electricity. Now we will study the semiconductors now. We will take semiconductors now. We all know that pure silicon and germanium are semiconductors. We all know that the energy gap between the valency band and conduction band is so small in case of semiconductors, and so that we can promote an electron from a valency band to conduction band by increasing the temperatures. But here pure silicon and germanium are not so good conductors at the room temperatures. These are called as intrinsic semiconductors. Pure semiconductors are called as intrinsic semiconductors. But for these pure semiconductors, if we add certain impurity, in a measured quantity, or any impurity, any means a particular impurity has to be added to pure semiconductors, their conductivity will be increased by several hundreds of times. So pure silicon and germanium are not so good conductors, but when we add some impurity to them in a measured quantity, their conductivity can be enhanced by hundreds of times. So the addition of impurity is known as doping. Doping is nothing but adding an impurity. But here selected impurity is added. Impurity in the sense any other element is to be added. So by adding the impurity, what is happening here? The conductivity of silicon and germanium is raising by several hundreds of times. Now let us see how to add the impurity and what is the types of semiconductors formed here. So after adding impurities, silicon and germanium will become extrinsic semiconductors. Pure silicon and germanium are intrinsic semiconductors. When we dope with impurity, they will become extrinsic semiconductors. Now how the impurity is added and what are the resultant semiconductors formed, we will discuss now. Now what is the impurity that we require to add? First of all, for that we need to know some basic information regarding silicon or germanium. These silicon and germanium, they belong to 14th group. Silicon or germanium, if you take, they belong to 14th group or fourth group, Roman number 4. So their valency is 4 here. Their valency is equals to 4. That means if you take silicon, that can form 4 covalent bonds with the other 4 silicon atoms in a silicon crystal. If you take a silicon, each silicon can form 4 other bonds, 4 covalent bonds with 4 other silicons. Now here I told you that we are going to add impurity. We can add an impurity with a valency 5. Here silicon's valency is 4. Now the element that we are adding is having a valency either 5, or you can add an element with the valency 3. Valency 3 means it is called as trivalent. Valency 5 means it is called as a pentavalent. For pure silicon, what we are doing is we are adding an impurity, that is we are doping. But this doping can be done either with the 13th group of elements. 13th group of elements or 3rd group of elements, you know, boron, aluminum, these are called 3rd group elements. Or you can add dope 5th group elements, phosphorus, arsenic, these are called 5th group of elements. These are impurities. So why we add this and what will happen to the pure semiconductors? Let us study now. Now, firstly we study what happens when we add a 5th group elements to pure silicon or germanium. Pure silicon or germanium are intrinsic semiconductors, but on addition of impurity they will become extrinsic semiconductors. So by adding 5th group elements, it will be electron rich semiconductors, or it will become N type of semiconductors. So for silicon, what we are adding? A pentavalent impurity. We are doping with pentavalent impurity. What we get is electron rich. What is meant by electron rich? More number of electrons, because silicon's valence is 4. So, but we are adding an impurity with 5 electrons. So there is more number of electrons. If you see silicon, this will be the bonding in the silicon. This is the bonding in case of pure silicon. That means if you take any silicon here that have 4 valence electrons, and each silicon, so every silicon atom is bonded to 4 other silicons. Extensive covalent bonding. Look here. Each silicon has a valency 4. So 4 electrons around each silicon. But here it is forming bonds with each silicon is forming bonds with 4 other silicon atoms. So look here, this is a silicon here. This is a silicon. So here it is forming 4 bonds with 4 other silicons. Just I am joining the electrons here to show the bond. So you can see here each silicon is bonded to 4 other silicon atoms. So it extends. So here it extends. But anyway, each silicon is forming 4 bonds. Look here, it is valence is 4 and so it is forming 4 bonds. But now what we are doing, we are adding a pentavalent impurity to silicon here. So that means if we add an impurity like phosphorus or arsenic, so what is the pentavalent impurity? Phosphorus or arsenic. For example, here I am adding phosphorus. So what is the valence of phosphorus? It is 5. That means 4 electrons will be forming 4 bonds, but as phosphorus valence is 5, there will be 1 electron left free. So this is called as a free electron. Now this free electron causes conductivity to the semiconductors because there is a free electron. When there is a free electron, conductivity will be increased. So that this is a N type of semiconductors. N for negative or electron rich. More electrons are there, it is called as electron. Where we have more electrons? Here. When we add a pentavalent impurity, that will give 5 electrons. But we need only 4 electrons to form 4 covalent bonds. So that we are left with 1 excess electrons, and that is causing conductivity in N type of semiconductors. So this is all about N type of semiconductors. So tell me, what is how an N type of extrinsic semiconductor form? When you take a pure silicon, a pentavalent impurity is added to it, then there will be a free electron left, and the semiconductor formed is called as an N-type semiconductors or electron-rich type of semiconductors. So this is all about a N-type of semiconductors. So now let us go for the electron deficient semiconductors. So now we are going to study electron deficient. What is meant by electron deficient? More electrons means surplus of electrons. Deficiency means a shortage of electrons. So this is silicon. So it is bonded covalently on the 4 sides continuously. So electron deficient. Deficiency means shortage here. Semiconductor. That is nothing but here we call it as P-type semiconductors. If you take silicon and if you add a trivalent impurity, we are doping with a trivalent impurity. That means third group of elements like boron or aluminum we are adding. So what will happen? For example, we are adding third group element. That means the third group element can give only 3 electrons for bonding because its valence is 3. So if we add boron here, that will give only 3 electrons. That means here there is a deficiency of electrons or a hole of electron here. Because here absence of electron. So this is nothing but deficiency of electron here. And this is we call technically as a hole. Hole is nothing but the deficiency of electron. Electron hole means electron means electron. Electron hole means absence of electron here. Why the electron is absent? Because boron can able to give only 3 electrons as its valence is 3. Now what happened here? There is a deficiency of electrons. So that the electron presence is considered as a negative charge. As the electron absence is there, it is considered as the positive charge. So now what will happen? This hole tries to take the electron from the adjacent position. So that this electron try to move here. From here to here, this electron comes and the hole will be formed here. And again this hole tries to take the electron from the adjacent position. That means the hole will be remain here and the electron will be transferred here. Again this hole tries to take the electron from the adjacent position and hole will be formed there. Wherever the electron is taken, a hole will be left there. But what is happening here? The hole is moving in this direction. At the same time, the electron is moving in the opposite direction. So remember that the electrons move in the opposite direction to the movement of the holes. Now the semiconductor formed is called as a p-type extrinsic semiconductor or p-type semiconductor. So this is electron deficient semiconductor. So p-type and n-type of semiconductors are formed when impurities are added to intrinsic semiconductors. When we add electron rich impurity, that is a 15th group element to pure semiconductors, that will give a n-type semiconductor where electrons are the majority carrier. At the same time, when we dope silicon or germanium with a trivalent impurity, that is a third group element, it leaves a deficiency of electron, creating a hole. So this semiconductor formed is called as a p-type of semiconductor, and here holes are the majority conductors, majority carriers in case of a p-type of semiconductors. So we have understood what is a p-type of semiconductor and n-type of semiconductors. But both these p-type and n-type of semiconductors have a vast usage now, because before doping they have very low conductivities. Either silicon or germanium, they have very low conductivity. But after doping, what is happening here? Their conductivity is increased by hundreds of times. So that in electronics they have a lot of applications. Now let us study some of the applications. So we go for some applications of semiconductors. So what is the first semiconductors? We use this n-type and p-type of semiconductors in diodes, and these diodes are used in rectifiers. So we'll make diodes by using n and p type of semiconductors, and those will be used in rectifiers. And second thing, we have transistors, that is the NPN transistor. So NPN transistor or PNP transistors, and these are used in the amplification of these are used in amplification or detection detect means detecting of the audio or radio signals. So NPN or PNP. So here N stands for N type of semiconductors. Just here P is in the middle and it is sandwiched between two layers of N type of semiconductors. This is called NPN transistors here. So PNP means here N type of semiconductor is sandwiched between two P type of semiconductors. But what is their use? These transistors are used to amplify the signals or detect the signals. And most importantly, these are used in photodiodes. Actually, photodiode is used in the conversion. It is a photovoltaic cell. What we do is we convert the light energy into electrical energy. So in photodiodes we use these N and P type of semiconductors, and here the light energy will be transformed into electrical energy. And there are several other applications, but these are some of the important applications. So today what we have learnt is band theory and semiconductors and applications of the semiconductors. We'll continue in the next class. Thank you.